Tanzanian human rights defender Maria Sarungi, who had been abducted in Kilimani this evening, has been released. Maria says she is at home and safe.
The Tanzanian media editor was abducted by three hooded and armed men at Chaka place, where they reportedly blocked her Uber and forced her into a black Noah car before driving away.
Now, her abduction comes in the wake of another abduction where Ugandan political leader Kizza Besigye was abducted and handed over to Ugandan authorities in Kampala.
Our reporter Melita Olatenges has been following the incident and now will join us shortly live with the latest update.
Rolling.
Asanteni sana, niko salama, Mungu ni mwema. Na kesho nitachukua muda niwashukuru vizuri. Naomba niwashukuru watu wa Kenya, watu wa Tanzania, and all the international people. Specific shout out to the people who are the man nation, because today I have been saved. Thank you.
Okay, for now we're going to go straight to our very own Melita Olatenges live on the scene to give us the latest.
Yeah, she came here to have her hair done, and she called me that she's leaving, she's ready, she's done, and she didn't show up at home. After some time, I decided she wasn't answering her phone, so I decided to come here and investigate why I cannot reach her. And the Askaris here at the gate told me that she was abducted around 3 p.m. I called many people, including Amnesty International, Kenya Law Society, Kenya Human Rights Society, and thank God, eventually Maria was released. I have to tell you, this has been the worst ordeal of my life. I didn't know whether she was alive or dead. She is a fierce critic of the government of Samia Suluhu Hassan. So in my mind, there is no doubt that this government and the thugs in her security service and the police are behind this. There is no doubt in my mind. They are responsible. As it was mentioned, elections are coming, so criticism is not tolerated anymore, even less than before.
There is a background to this, as you alluded earlier. Perhaps what made you and Maria come to Kenya from Tanzania 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago, the government of Magufuli shut down our business. They withdrew our license, and we couldn't operate anymore. So, and eventually, information came that an arrest warrant had been issued for Maria. At that time, we decided to flee the country. Eventually, we moved here. We set up a small media house, and Maria continued her activism and being critical of the government of Tanzania. Fight for democracy, fight for media freedom, fight for individual freedom.
Thank you so much. Allow me to speak to Roland Ebole, the regional researcher Tanzania and Uganda for Amnesty International. Thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps how do you speak to this? This is like the third abduction happening on Kenyan soil for people who are seeking, shelter and a home here in Kenya. Perhaps how do you respond to this?
I think this is a continuation of transnational repression, something that Amnesty is worried about, considering Kenya's position in the international arena. Kenya having a seat at the UN Human Rights Council, Kenya, of course, having, wanting to really, or will be in the next few months, one of the largest UN, hub in the world. We are calling for an end of abductions. Tanzania and Uganda going into elections, we are seeing a situation whereby their citizens are not safe in Kenya. The government must protect its citizens.
Thank you. Faith Odhiambo, LSK President, what are your sentiments regarding the ordeal that happened this afternoon?
We want to say that the Law Society has been actively involved in dealing with the cases with regards to abductions, and we are currently still in court with regards to the 7 that were abducted and are still one is still missing, that we're asking the IG to investigate and bring to book and ensure the release of that last individual. We're also calling upon the IG to investigate the events that have happened today. We are a country that boasts that we protect human rights. The head of state has talked about it severally, and to see this occurrence happening again just after the spate of what happened in the Besigye's case in our country, we want to give a warning to our neighbors. This is not a hub for abduction. This is not a hub that people can be picked up the way they want. This is a country that respects human rights. This is a country that must adhere to the rule of law. And I received also distress calls from the Tanzania Law Society, amongst others. And so we want to assure that this is a country that we will fight to ensure that human rights and the rule of law is maintained.
Well, as you've heard it, Jeff, in October 2024, 4 Turkish nationals that were registered by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees were repatriated back to their country. In November, we saw Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye also abducted and transferred by road all the way to a martial court in Uganda. And this is the latest incident happening here in Kilimani. And what the family and activists behind me are saying, this is a call for the government to actually give answers as to what is really happening here on Kenyan soil. Back to you, Jeff and Olive.
All right, Melita Olateng is right there live. Thanks so much for the update. All's well that ends well. Maria is safe at home.
But there's still questions that are pending.
Abductions continue.
Yeah, she says, Mungu ni mwema, nimepambana na nyinyi mmepambana. She says she'll speak more tomorrow.